All right. Okay. As long as COVID-19 has grounded me to the house and Katie with me, she is going to take me while I show you how to make schnecken, or just a basic raised dough recipe. I am
Wait, 20.
I am going to have to tell you I am cheating because I am using Grandma Marsh's, which is Tom Marsh's mother's recipe, because that is what I have switched to. It's a softer recipe, so that's why I did that. It's also a big recipe. It will make 3 Jelly Roll tins of schnecken. You can cut it in half if you want to and just make 1 Jelly Roll tin. Other than that, there is nothing super unusual. It's probably stuff that you have in your house now, except possibly the yeast, the lard, which you can change out butter, or you can use Crisco. Either one will work just fine. And then
Probably,
the
Some
mashed
dry-
potato flakes. And Mom, I never knew why that was in there. And Mom said Nammy used to put mashed potato water and mashed potatoes in with her bread when she wanted her bread to be softer also. So it must make the dough softer, adding starch or whatever. All right, let's get at it. It's pretty easy. I have put a 1/2 cup of sugar in my bowl. I am not using the dough hook yet. I will show you when I switch to the dough hook. So I put a 1/2 cup of sugar in, and I need to add a 1/2 cup of lukewarm water. Lukewarm water is not hot. If it's too hot, you will kill your yeast. But you want it a little bit warm, kind of probably like you would bathe a baby in, or even cooler than that. Just a little bit warmed up.
Now, I've heard it that if you touch it, it doesn't feel cool or warm. It's just kind of body temperature
Yes. So I'm putting in a 1/2 cup of water.
with your...
Sugar. I put a 1/2 cup of sugar in already.
Okay.
And then my recipe says 1 ounce of compressed yeast. I usually use 3 teaspoons of, this is a fast rising yeast. You can use the regular yeast too, it doesn't matter. But I usually use 3 teaspoons. And that is a total guess. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that is life with cooking for me. Because yes, this is the way I bake. It's kind of throw it all together, okay? So, just mixed it up a little bit. Not a big deal. I am going to get a spatula though. Then I'm going to add 2 eggs. Natalie Marie, you do not need another drink. I know you're stuck in an apartment alone. Okay, so notice I'm mixing up my eggs a little bit. Not a big deal. Then it tells me to add my milk. Now, what did I do with the milk? I put 3 cups of milk in a container to put in the microwave. I warmed it. It told us to scald the milk and then cool it down. I believe this is an old recipe when you needed to scald milk in order to bake with it, but I don't do that. I just warm it a little bit so my yeast stays activated.
Mom, about how long do you put the milk on for to warm it
These
up?
3 cups I put in, I think, for 2 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not hot, it's just warm to the touch.
Okay.
And I'm going to put in a 1/2 cup of mashed potatoes into the milk.
The dried mashed potatoes that you showed us earlier.
Yes,
Okay.
these.
Got it.
1/2 cup into the milk. Mix that up. Now, the recipe says to put your salt in right away, and I don't do that all the time. Because salt kills yeast. So I don't want to have my salt too concentrated in with my yeast. So I'm going to stir that a little bit. And I'll add my salt now that I have all the other liquids in there. Or sometimes. Wait a minute, where's mine?
Mom, your phone is in my hand.
No, I'm looking for my drink.
Oh, it's right here. We got another drink going on over here.
Here we go.
Mama's drinking. Katie's drinking. Natty's drinking.
All right, that's
Natalie.
enough. This is going on Facebook. That's
Oh,
enough.
okay.
All right, it says 1 tablespoon of salt. And then I do this. I look at my recipe and I say, did I put in the water? Yes. Lard, not yet. Sugar, yeast, eggs, salt, milk with potato flakes. Part of the reason for that is I would sometimes mix this dough when I would come home from a night out with Kenny. And I had to double check to make sure I put everything in. All right. Next thing is to put in half of the flour. So half of the flour, it calls for 7 to 8 cups. I always use 8 cups. So I'm going to put in 4 cups of flour.
And you're not too particular about how
Well, I
it's
should
measured?
be, but I'm not.
Maybe professionals like Margie can do whatever they want. But if
No.
you want to be more exact, then you can just
You
level
can
off
do
the
the
top
leveling and everything like
with a
that.
knife if you want.
I learned to cook from my mother, who did not measure super exactly. All right, I'm gonna give this a little bit until that flour gets mixed up with the rest of the dough, with the liquid. Get some of those lumps out of there. And I'll have you know, my Nammy did not use a KitchenAid. And I didn't use a KitchenAid until my girls bought me a KitchenAid. Before that, this was done by hand in a big kettle. And that's how Nammy did it. All right. So I'm going to scoop down here just so that I make sure that everything is coming up from the bottom. Because otherwise with these KitchenAids, the bottom doesn't always get
mixed in.
mixed in very well. Now that I have this flour, half the flour mixed up, I'm going to use my lard. Like I said, butter or Crisco will work just fine.
And we had to melt it first.
It is melted.
Yes.
And now we turn it on very slowly, otherwise the lard flies all over.
You don't want that to happen.
No, you don't. Done it.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that, Natty. You're right. By the way, Natty is not home. She is on a phone call with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Video. I'm not on the phone.
Okay,
No.
she's videoing with us.
She's videoing. She's on Messenger.
So I want to get that lard all mixed in. As you can see, it's still around the edges. I want to keep mixing it until it's all mixed in.
I don't want to look at
So now that you notice that most of it was mixed in, you decided to turn it higher.
A little bit just to get that all mixed in, yes. All right. Now I'm going to switch to my kneading hook.
Wait. It's that.
Looks like this. If you are doing this by hand, you just dump in the next 4 cups of flour, 4 cups of flour, and it tells me to mix it until it snaps, which I wasn't quite sure what that meant. That's why I used the kneading hooks, because I figured I can. Mom never mixed hers that much, I don't think. So, kneading hooks. 1 kneading hook going on now. And, sorry, Natty, you're going down.
Nelly, I got you. Don't worry.
I'm only going to put 2 cups in at a time, only because otherwise it goes all over the top and it puffs out all over and makes another mess, which it might do this time too.
So So again, start out slowly so then your
Yes.
flour gets the chance to mix in a little bit better, and then you can speed it up in a little bit.
Yes. I'm going to scoop up from the bottom to try to get some of this flour down there because I know the bottom is all runny yet. And normally I would have done this with a wooden spoon if I were mixing it. In fact, at Mom's, I had to use a half a wooden spoon because she broke it on one of the older kids. But we still used the wooden spoon.
Is there any reason to use a wooden spoon?
If you're hand mixing it, you needed something that isn't going to break. It had to be that strong to get in
That's sturdy.
and really mix it.
Got it.
My arms would get too sore. Before the girls got me this machine, I was having Kenny do the last mixing because my arms would get too sore.
I was gonna say I tried it once. It was very difficult.
All right, I'm going to add in the last 2 cups of flour. Now, I am doing this at night so that it can sit in the... My measuring cup just broke.
So sad.
It is.
Just
I don't know.
use it.
All right. Nice and slowly
Anyways,
again.
you were saying.
What was I saying?
You were saying that you were making this at night for a
Oh,
reason.
I make it at night so that I can work with it right away in the morning. I'm going to put it in a bowl that I will spray before I put it in there, and then put it in the refrigerator. And I like it at night because it's cold in the morning when I work with it. And when it is cooler, it's not as sticky. If it gets too sticky, you end up having to put so much more flour into it that it actually gets a little tough. So this is how you keep it to be the easiest to work with in the morning.
I'm sorry, Natalie. Natalie fell.
Honestly, this is so not a professional thing.
I can't get you up.
Honey, have another margarita. You're so bad, Maddie. Okay, I'm gonna let this mix.
I forgot that I had muted myself for a little while.
Let me just take a look and make sure that I've got it mixed from underneath too. That looks pretty good. So, how do you tell? You want it to be a little sticky, like that. It's not like a bread dough. Bread dough you don't usually leave very sticky at all. This you're gonna leave a little bit stickier because that keeps it as my mother would say, a shorter dough, meaning it has more shortening as compared to flour, in comparison to flour, and ratio with flour, whatever you want to say. So I'm just gonna let this knead for a little bit longer. Whoops. And then I will get my bowl out and get that ready.
Mom, do you recommend glass over metal or glass over plastic?
It doesn't matter. You want to spray it so that it doesn't stick.
Okay.
Although in the kettle, when I mixed it in my big kettle, I never sprayed it. I just put the cover on the kettle and put the kettle in the refrigerator.
Is there a reason why you don't just leave it in this container? Does it not rise as much as it needs to?
It doesn't have enough room to rise.
It doesn't have enough
That's
room
why
to
you gotta
rise.
use a big kettle.
Yeah, that was
This
our
was the
kettle.
kettle that I used, and it would be full by morning.
Because the yeast is alive.
All right. I suppose I could put a little flour on my hand.
Why did you put flour on your hand, Ma?
Because it'll stop the dough from sticking as badly.
Did you say Natalie?
No, badly. Nobody's talking about you.
Cut me some slack, you two ding dongs. Okay. And then I'm going to take that off and just put it into my bowl. And let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. And then tomorrow morning, I will show you how to make it into schnecken.
So you put it in the refrigerator? You don't let it sit out and rise overnight?
No, it'll rise all over. You put it into the refrigerator.
If you're doing it at night
If
and you
you're
don't
doing
have
it
an
at
eye
night.
at it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you're doing it during the day, you want to keep it out where it's warm,
Okay.
because you want it to keep rising right away.
Okay.
But to do it at night, you want to put it in the refrigerator.
Will it still rise in the refrigerator?
Yes. It will.
Yeah, we don't want another monkey bread incident.
No.
Oh yeah, we did have trouble with monkey bread going over.
It was a lot of monkey bread.
It was a lot of monkey bread.
All right. And that is all we have to do.
Do you put a cover on it?
I do put a cover on it because otherwise it will dry out.
And you spray the cover?
I did. I
What?
don't always, but I did this time.
Okay. And you spray the cover just so then it doesn't stick to the cover?
Right. And now into the fridge.
Awesome.
Of course, I have to find a room in this refrigerator. Okay.
Yay. All right. That's how you mix it. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye now.